What happened to you guys leaving the screen and then coming back in? I'm very disappointed.
I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to Google something. I apologize, Michael.
No worries. Here we are. You guys should have tuned in. Well, we don't have a lot of time to BS because Brad's got to go, but you should have tuned in 10 minutes ago, or I should have hit record 10 minutes ago because Charles was putting on a full-on rap concert in his living room. We're going to have to do that one show.
I didn't hear it, Michael, and you have to tell me, is he more of like a Tupac or more of like a Missy Elliott, maybe an Eminem?
Of the three that you named, probably more of a Missy Elliott.
Hell yes.
I mean, I know Eminem songs verbatim. I think when Michael came in, he was probably hearing me. It was a mix of Gucci Mane, Lil Wayne, Lil Baby.
It's not about knowing the lyrics. It's about the style. Are you are you getting up in the camera wearing a trash bag?
I'm very emotive when I rap.
I bet you are throwing up them signs. You know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
Dropping those N words too. I heard it.
Hard R?
Rip. Gotta let him rip.
Charles, when you rap, do you use a soft A or a hard R?
The soft A, of course.
Not of course. I don't know.
There's no rap song that really uses the ER.
I mean, but you could. They do that. They do that for commercial success. But like you're in the privacy of your home. You're black. You could say that.
Privacy.
Well, I guess it wasn't private.
It's true. No, it wasn't. No,
Michael,
he thought it was. It wasn't. Yeah, we're here. It's the BCM podcast, episode 79. I'm here with these two fools. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien.
Muy bien.
You too. Yeah, see. Subscribe, like, share, do all the things. We've got a bunch to discuss today. Trump's first 100 days, good, bad, ugly. I have been down the Idaho 4 rabbit hole. I don't know if you guys have been, so wanted to discuss that.
Idaho 4?
Yeah, the Bryan Kohberger case.
Okay.
It has like taken the nation by storm. Everybody's talking about it. Who's cool? So not Brad. And it's what?
I've been distraught. I mean, not lately, but generally speaking, that I've been distraught over that case. Just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, we'll get to it. I'm interested to hear you guys' take. We've got some measles misinformation, or people worried about measles misinformation that Brad sent me earlier in the week.
Oh.
And we're going to do another Am I the A-hole segment and some other stuff. I think we're going to talk about Mark Zuckerberg, possibly what's going on at the Text Ledge with the House State Affairs Committee and banning memes. We'll see what we get to, but lots of good topics today. So let's start with
memes, though. Did he? I'm sorry.
Just for political campaigns. Yeah,
right.
You want to go to that?
I mean, I keep seeing it, and I texted you guys, not you, Charles, but Michael and another person, to good friend of the show, Bryan. I read the bill, and I think the way that I read it, it's literally just if you're an office holder or you're running a campaign, and in that case, you have to say this is a paid advertisement buy.
Yep.
And everyone is freaking out saying that you can't post political memes anymore in Texas once this passes, and I just don't. I'm wondering, like, everyone is so confident that you can't post, like they leave out all of the context. I'm like, am I missing something?
Well, it's for the campaigns.
Correct.
But when do you become a part of the campaign? When you're volunteering for a candidate and you are posting on social media as well, like are you part of the campaign?
I can't hear you.
Or are you not? I think it's a little gray area, and I think people get caught up, and there are some pretty stiff penalties associated with this bill, including up to a year in prison.
A year in prison,
crazy.
So
a year in prison includes other penalties, if you know what I mean.
Huh?
Is there something wrong with the audio? What's happening?
No, I just didn't hear the joke.
Did I go out there?
Yes, you keep going in and out, and so I don't know if what's happening.
Oh. I think I got a phone call. So let me go back to what I was saying. There's a gray area because if you're posting on social media and you're a volunteer on the campaign and you're advocating for or against a certain candidate, are you part of the campaign then? And the law comes with pretty stiff penalties up to a year in prison.
Yeah.
For memeing. And I think some people could get caught up in that, in that gray area. And I think there's reason to be concerned that we're creating criminal penalties for memeing. On the other side, they're saying you should, if you're doing it for a campaign and you're being paid for it, you should disclose it, which we do on mailers and robocalls and everything else. So why would memes be any different?
Well, if you are on a campaign and you post, if you post something saying like, I support this person, I don't support this person for those reasons, you don't have to put a disclaimer on your tweet. Memes to me are like newspaper, what are those things called? Cartoons, but I don't know what they're like technically called, like the
political cartoons. Satire.
Satire, yeah. So I don't see why you would have to, similar to if you were looking at what's that website called that does the satire articles about politics? The Onion? Is it the Onion or there's enough Babylon Bee. They don't have to put, if I'm not mistaken, they don't have to put disclaimers on their stuff. So why is this any different?
But they're not. So I don't agree. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with the bill, but I'm not surprised that something like this is happening. There's a big shaking your head. There's a big push to. Why do you keep shaking your head? It's throwing me off.
I'm agreeing with you. I don't agree with the bill either. That is what my head shaking is for.
Yeah, I don't agree with the bill, but I'm not surprised that something like this is happening. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, AI and stuff like that is coming out, and they're trying to protect themselves from, I don't know, should I say bad actors? I guess they're fucking politicians, so aren't they all bad actors? But they, you come out with you make a video, a campaign makes a video, Cornyn's campaign makes a video of Ken Paxton, and it's all AI, but, Boomer Matilda doesn't know the difference between like real and unreal. She doesn't know how to use the internet, basically. And there's no disclaimer on there saying that this came from the Cornyn campaign. I could see why they would want to protect themselves from that.
But why does it matter what the source is?
Why does it matter? Well, you could ask them that, I guess, for mailers. Why does it matter what the source is? Why do they make you put a disclaimer on that?
Because if you're paying for something, they want people to know.
Right. So that's what I mean. I'm saying I'm not surprised by it, and I don't believe the hype that like me, Brad Swail, can't post a meme on Twitter anymore once this is enacted, if it's enacted.
Well, we'll find out, because I'm going to report you a lot to the authorities.
I hope every listener reports me. I want to spend a year in jail for the slight of posting a meme.
Well, isn't that part of the problem, though, is that we don't know, and that once this is passed, and I assume it's not going to get through the Senate, but once this is passed, someone's going to have to go through the process of a long, drawn-out legal fight to determine if it's even, like, upheld. And it's probably going to be some random person from Texarkana who decided to draft up a little meme about somebody and, put it out there. So, I mean, it clearly sounds like hurt feelings from elected officials who don't like memes being made about them. But I'm sorry, like, you enter the public space, like, there's going to be some stuff. It's very different than a political ad. It's a meme. It's a joke.
Yeah. I think the other thing that complicates is it's the public square. We're talking about what's happening on social media. It's just a little trickier than sending a direct mail piece to someone's door that's an advertisement and printing.
Eric Weinstein doesn't like the public square anymore. There is no free marketplace of ideas.
Why not? I like Eric Weinstein.
Yeah, well, now he's a fucking gatekeeping bitch like the rest of them. Mm-hmm. So what'd you expect?
All right, let's move on. We're going to come back to Text Ledge, though, later, because I want to talk about the House State Affairs Committee.
I didn't mean to. And I apologize.
That's all right. We can take up Weinstein on the next episode and all of those figures from the, what was it, intellectual dark web.
Internet dark web? Stop it. That is IDW. It's the worst moniker name ever. Ugh.
Hey, easy.
No.
You don't want to fight.
I do.
I don't want to fight. Okay. Trump. Let's do Trump. First 100 days. So we're 100 days, 102 into the administration. A lot has happened. Appointments, Doge, border stuff, foreign policy, tariffs, pardons. He released some files, just not the Epstein files, crypto, all this stuff happening. It's been like a whirlwind. Charles, what is your take on his first 100 days? And if you were to assign a grade to it, what's he getting?
So if I would assign a grade to it, so like I guess we're saying like end of semester, I would give it a B. Yeah, like a B. We haven't had Epstein, we haven't had JFK stuff. There's been some stuff, but not really. We haven't had MLK stuff, RFK stuff. The aliens was supposed to be released day one. We haven't heard anything from that. The New Jersey drones was supposed to be day one. Haven't heard anything about that. Everything's more expensive now, which isn't entirely his fault at all. Like, but I mean, there have been some good things, but there was a lot of promise of like retribution against people who did us wrong these past 4 years, and I have not seen that yet. And Pam Bondi and what's his name, Kash Patel. Kash Patel today is posting a picture of him jogging with the FBI trainees. Great, but isn't there something better you could be doing with your time? So I don't know. And then today, the national security advisor who gave up a very safe Congress seat to go become national security advisor is gone. For better or worse, I don't know. But it's just been a rocky 100 days. So I would give it a B because there have been some good things, but some things that I'm still waiting on.
Why do they blur out all the faces?
I don't know. But okay, so here, wait, let's take a look at this.
Hold on. Yeah, look at these chunkers in the front. Look at these chunkers in the front. Why can't he run faster than them? I want a better FBI director, a faster one.
Wait, listen. No, pull that back up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I looked at this too, and I was curious because the first 3, 4, 5 rows are all women. And then the guys are in the back. And I wonder if that's because when you do these fitness tests, women usually, whether it's push-ups, whether it's running, whatever, get an advantage. And I thought we were going to stop doing that. So I'm really curious, like, why this setup is the way that it is.
Dude, well, if this is a fitness test and Kash Patel is not beating these women,
he's obviously not racing them. Like,
well, if you just said that they are. You said this. We weren't doing the fitness test where women get a head start anymore. If it's a test, you're trying to do your best.
Our test and the race are not the same thing.
I'm sorry. What did you just say?
This is a photo op, guys.
Yes, it's not a race. And you'd think that they could put some, I don't know, maybe some bikinis up top. Come on, guys.
2 questions, Charles, that came up. One, I'm a little shocked that you're disappointed that more people haven't been put in jail for what they've done to us.
I didn't say put in jail.
Well, you
said retribution.
Held accountable, and that could mean a number of things.
Okay. Who's the one person that you want to be held accountable? And then my second question, I forgot. So let me think about it.
I would say, I don't know that I have one person, but I would say probably for starters, Fauci. What has happened to him? Sure. Nothing. His wife was fired. Susan Rice, the mastermind behind Benghazi, was working at the Department of Defense until like last week.
Dang. Yeah.
Until Texas got rid of her. So, like, I mean, yes, there have been some great things, but I've well,
Fauci has that fake pardon, so they're going to pretend like it's real, it seems like, and just not go after him.
I'm not saying he needs to go to jail. What I'm saying is that there still could be things that are done. There still could be conversations that are had.
So you don't want retribution. You just want a conversation. What is that?
Retribution doesn't necessarily mean jail.
Okay.
They put up a whole website.
Oh, who cares about the website? Everyone forgot about it. It doesn't change anyone's mind.
They put up a whole website saying that it was a lab leak and that Fauci hid it.
And conservatives, look, it feels good to have the government, validate your beliefs and what you know is true. And I get that, sure. But it doesn't mean anything. Everyone's was pissing their pants with excitement that there's a website, covid.gov or whatever it is, that says that masks were useless and it came from a lab, yada, yada, yada. And what happens? Is Fauci in jail? No. Is Trump still the leader of Warp Speed? Yes. Are the COVID vaccines still out there? Yes. Did kids get? Yeah. Nothing changed. The left still hates you, and the right still doesn't understand.
I think the strategy with Fauci is the state's attorneys general are bringing up state charges against him to avoid the pardon. I think that's what they're working on, but
the pardon is fake as fuck. It is not. And when I say fake, relax. I don't mean like it doesn't exist. I know that you like
calories.
Yeah, you're so dumb. You cannot under any circumstances pardon people for unspecified crimes. It doesn't. That's not a thing. You can't do that.
I mean, how do you know that?
Because it doesn't make sense legally. So
It's also never been done.
I don't know if you. I don't know if you know, but I'm a lawyer.
Never been done, which means never been tested, which means
The only person that's ever been pardoned for not being convicted of a crime was Richard Nixon. So, but for that, what's that worth? Brad,
he was part of something specific, I thought, right?
Yeah, but he hadn't been convicted of it.
Right, but I think that's that I can get. You can pardon somebody for something they weren't convicted of, but you have to be specific about what it was. You have to say what it is.
A pardon is yeah, never mind. We don't need to go down the pardon thing, but yes, a grade.
Let's go in a pardon hole. A grade. Would you give him, Charles, a B?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, I mean, oh God, we're doing pluses and minuses too, I assume. I mean, I really want to say, like, he has plenty of time to turn this around. All right, but I'm gonna say C plus. That's my gut. C plus. That's my gut.
C plus.
C plus. C plus. And let me explain. Look, the border is basically shut down. I'm going to believe the numbers. I'm going to assume it's true. I haven't been down there to confirm. I don't think I really need to, but it's down 99% border crossings. Awesome. A plus. Way to go. You're getting a lot of what is it? Criminal illegal aliens. That's cool. You're not getting enough illegal aliens. You have to get them all. And I just don't know if that's going to be possible, but he talked a big game.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, Epstein files, they've been sitting on Bondi's desk for a long time. There have been no arrests. We don't know, if you don't give us the files, can you at least tell us who they are and then go arrest those people? And can you please do something like Doge? Okay, cool. You found a lot of fraud. That's awesome. And it makes really cool Twitter banter. And, see, the US government is full of fraud and waste and corruption. Yeah, we knew that. And I guess we have proof now, but can I have my money back? All right, that's awesome. You're going to give, tax breaks, no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. That's awesome. I only work for tips now. Why can we just do all of it? No taxes? That sounds better to me. I mean, it's a lot of sort of half measures, but like I said, it's only first 100 days. He could, the best thing, A plus is he keeps making the left show their hand.
But you're rating him on the first 100 days, not on what could come. You're rating him on the first 100 days. I'm just hedging my bets, and still A plus on making the left and the media show their hand, how biased they are and how shitty they are. Exposing the corruption, awesome. A plus. F on giving me my money back. Sure.
I've got C minus.
Oh, hell yeah.
D plus.
Oh,
D.
I like one
Plus is
like
a
decent
boy.
Like a 69.
Hell yeah, brother. Love that number.
Almost a C, but a D plus.
Okay.
I think in terms of, yes, border, Doge, that's it. In terms of implementation, ideas, we give them a B plus. Implementation, not super good. I mean, the Ukraine war is still going. The war in the Middle East, still going. Potential start of another new war. The files aren't out. We haven't cut government. I think the Congress and Trump got a little distracted in the Israel first movement and forgot about the America first movement. And so I would say ideas, B plus, implementation, D plus, C minus. It's kind of where I'm at.
I think this would be a good segment to do every 3 months. And then at our end of the year show, we do
Charles.
Average of what his average is for the year. For
each
one.
That's interesting. I like that.
I think I gave him a B last time we did this.
Oh, did we do this before?
No.
We rated his first 2 weeks or something.
Oh,
we did.
Okay, fine.
Okay, well, January, February, March. So these grades will count for the first quarter. March, April, May, June. We'll do another one in a month in June, and that'll be second quarter, and then we'll keep it going.
Well, let's do that. Sounds great.
Okay.
I'm in.
So, anything else on Trump?
I mean, yeah, I like the point of the Israel first. They forgot about America first. I like that a lot. That's well said, Michael. Good job.
Are you being condescending or are you
No,
serious?
I'm being very genuine. It's really fucking. I mean, this happened like yesterday, the day before here in Texas. San Marcos, the city of San Marcos, is talking about divesting $4.7 million or whatever in Israel. It's a town of like 70,000 people, and Greg Abbott writes this letter like, anti-Semitism is not allowed in Texas, yada yada yada. Trump does a lot of the same thing with campuses across the United States, anti-Semitism, whatever. How many fucking years have universities and like cities been like talking shit about like white dudes and men and like America, and all of a sudden it's a problem because they say something bad about Israel? I don't understand what's happened. Why is it not America first? What happened to that?
I don't know.
I
It's
don't
a
know
good
either.
question for them. Yeah, they're creating new speech laws and all sorts of crazy stuff, but
Yeah.
I digress. All right. Let's do Idaho 4, Bryan Kohberger. All right. So, like I said, I've been down the rabbit hole. When I was at the driving range the last 2 or 3 times, I listened to the full Megyn Kelly series. She did like a full series on it. And then I listened to the Serialistly, I think is what it's called, podcast, some other stuff. The case itself is kind of taken on a life of its own online. There's a lot of debating and coverage, and people have been like, he's guilty, and other people are like, he's not guilty, and like all this stuff. It sounds like Charles has been following the case. Brad, have you?
No.
Not at all. All right. Well, I'll give you you want me to give you the brief cliff notes?
You guys, yeah, I mean, I can't be the only person. There's 3 of us, but there's millions of listeners. There's certainly a chunk of them that haven't heard.
Well,
all right, there's a lot.
Okay.
Go ahead, Charles.
Well, I was going to kind of set the stage for those who weren't.
Do it.
So 3 years ago, 2022.
2022.
Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, 4 people. Ethan did not live in the home, but the 3 girls did with 2 of their roommates. They were home around, 2, 3 in the morning, whatever. Someone came in, murdered them, and left. 2 of the roommates, or maybe 3, I'm not sure, were in the house and heard commotion. One of them actually saw Bryan walk by her while she opened the door to her room, and they were not harmed. He left. Well, allegedly Bryan. He left. They waited hours before calling the police. They then called the police. Police showed up, found the 4 of them murdered. It's just been so strange. So, I mean, I remember seeing that morning, and it was just like, what? And then the cops were like, there's no concern. I mean, granted, I'm not in Idaho, so I wasn't like that's concerned that, it was going to happen to me. But they kept telling people there's no concern. Don't worry about it. Like, we're not concerned about who this person is and them coming back, essentially. And then a couple days later, they pop out with Bryan Kohberger and said that he was the guy. And I have yet to hear a motive. I don't know if they talked about that on the stuff you listen to, but that's what I'm dumbfounded by, is because there are no connections that they've been able to identify between him and these group of people, and therefore have not been able to provide a motive. And I'm just so confused.
So I remember when these happened, some were talking about it on the radio and, all that stuff and hearing about it. So the thrust of this is this guy, Bryan Kohberger, or whatever his name is, may not have been the guy.
So let me add just a little additional color. Charles's layout was good. The murders happened at 4 a.m. The 4 people were stabbed to death. 2 of the roommates survived. 1 came out of her room to see what was happening, and the suspect walked right by her, like literally within feet, straight out the door, like in a daze. She had mentioned at that point, which ended up being a important tip for the law enforcement, that the guy had a mask on, but he had bushy eyebrows. They waited. This is one of the things that the defense is going to bring up. They waited 8 hours to call the police. They ordered food. They called their parents.
They ordered
friends.
Food. That. Okay.
Yeah. They ordered. That's why she was up at 4 a.m, because she had ordered food and thinking it was the delivery guy.
Okay.
And then the first clue that the police get is they pull video footage from the surrounding areas, and they see this white Hyundai Elantra driving near the house 3 times around the times of the murder. The second clue is they find a knife sheath in the house, which has some DNA on it, but nobody in their database has that DNA. And the distinction is it's touch DNA. It's not like saliva or blood or semen. It's from a finger tip. And then, in December, a month later, actually, Bryan Kohberger is being monitored by the police in Pennsylvania at his parents' home. They drove across the country and they surveil him taking stuff out of his car, putting it in little plastic bags while he's wearing gloves and throwing it in his neighbor's trash. At which point the police arrest him, bring him back. He's the guy. They match the touch DNA on the knife sheath to Kohberger's dad, or a relative of Kohberger's dad. And so he's the suspect. The trial, there's a lot going on. The trial starts in July with jury selection. Everybody's following it. And given those facts, this is where I'm at on it. Given those facts, it really seems like he's the guy. But I would say that the prosecution's case is pretty light of facts, including what Charles just laid out, is they have no motive. There's no motive. He doesn't know these girls. They don't know why he killed him. The touch DNA can be questioned because that's not technically allowed to be used in court. And the white Hyundai Elantra, like, yeah, I was pinging off cell phone towers, but those things, radiuses are super big and all this kind of, stuff that they can dispute and try to raise a reasonable doubt among the jury. But so anyways, there's a lot going on. The trial starts in July. Are you guys going to watch it? It's a state court, so it'll be on TV. Do you plan to watch any of it?
Probably not like day to day like some of the others, but I'm certain I'll be like watching it regularly.
Yeah.
Because I want to know what the prosecution, like, they've got to give a motive to the jury. And I mean, maybe they don't, like, maybe there is no motive, but still, like, it's not even, they have video footage of two of the girls at a food truck earlier in the evening. And it's not even like he's like hovering around the food truck and followed them home. Like, there's just nothing. And so it seems as though he literally pulled up to this house, somehow knew it was, kind of like a sorority girl house that he could gain access to without people questioning why you're coming in and out of a house at 4 a.m. and randomly killed 4 people and then didn't kill the others, which one of them looked him directly in the face. I don't understand it.
He looks like Richard Hanania, 1. 2, why did they wait 8 hours before calling the police? They didn't realize they're dead?
No, they went in there, but they didn't go in there until, if I'm not mistaken, one of the girls said that they were just scared. They closed the door and they locked themselves in, and then they did go into the rooms later and they recognized that there was a problem, and then they called the police. I think one might have called her sister, another called their parent. But at the end of the day, like, that to me isn't, 8 hours is a long time, but you just don't know how you react in a situation like that. And they're like 21 years old. They've never seen anything like that. Like, I can see you being frozen for 8 hours, being like, I don't know.
You cannot see me frozen for 8 hours if I see a dead body in my house.
Well, I don't think they saw a dead body. I think that they assumed, because if you listen to the 911 call, they are saying she's not waking up. Mm-hmm. And I think they assumed maybe she was dead from alcohol poisoning or something like that in her room. The door was closed. She was in there with her boyfriend. They didn't go in the room. It was the frat guy that they called over to come over that went in the room the first time and with the police and saw that the bodies were there. And so the 8 hours, these girls are like texting with each other, the two survivors, like, what's going on? Did one of the girls bring a guy home? Who was that guy that just walked through the house, kind of thing? And so it's such a bizarre set of facts, including the lack of motive. And the defense is going to try to throw out the DNA. They're going to say, well, white Hyundai Elantra, how many of those are there? There's no license plate. There's no picture of him driving the car. And the thrown away trash, he always acts like that. He's a little bit ADD and like doesn't like germs. So like
OCD,
yeah, doesn't like germs. So how does that mean he's a murderer? And I think the prosecution has a tough case to prove, even though it seems pretty clear to me that this guy was responsible. The other fact is that he was a master's student at another university, and he's studying to be a criminologist. Interesting.
I did. Yes, I forgot that part.
Brad, have we piqued your interest?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I know all about it now. Like I don't need to go listen to a podcast about it. So that's nice. I'm glad that I have this little. He really looks a lot like Richard Hanania, and I'm trying to like find a way to.
He looks creepy. He looks creepy as F.
You know, what are you gonna do? It's hard to believe that someone would freeze for 8 hours, but maybe they just didn't know. Maybe they thought it was dead for something else, or who knows? I don't know.
They didn't know they were dead when they froze for 8 hours. They had the run-in with the guy, were afraid, and went back in their room. And I think at the end of the day, you just don't know how someone's going to react in a situation. Like, you just really don't, especially when you're a 21-year-old girl who's never been through anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
They're posting on TikTok and Instagram and stuff in the interim period. So like maybe they just thought she brought some dude home, and then the dude was leaving, and then they started to get worried. You know, they're waking up from their hangover. They start to get worried because nobody's coming out of the room, and then they start to freak out. But all right, let's move on. We will cover it. I will be interested to cover, you know, what happens in the trial, as a lot of people will be doing. So we'll stay on it. All right. Am I the a-hole? And we're doing this impromptu. I know. And we're doing this impromptu. Which shall we choose?
I've been looking for some this whole time. But go ahead.
Am I the a-hole for ruining my sister-in-law's birthday by crying? Nah. Am I the a-hole for refusing to change someone's baby's diaper?
Depends on the situation.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean, if it's someone's if it's someone, that implies that it's a stranger, and you are under no obligation to change a stranger's diaper.
Should we do that one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. My wife and I have been married for 10 plus years and have a few kids. Sister-in-law and her husband had a baby 2 years ago. No major complaints. They just tend to ask for people to do stuff that I would think they'd do themselves. They'll come over to your house. They live an hour away, and they'll ask ahead of time if we had their kids' favorite crackers on hand. Why don't they just pick up a pack of crackers? I don't know. They're well off, money not an issue. If one of them leaves the room, they'll ask one of us, my wife or kids, to be in charge of the quote, in charge of the baby, even if the other parent is right there, just scrolling on their phone or something. But whenever I say something to my wife, she says I'm being too much. The other day, we're having a dinner at my mother-in-law's house when the baby had a poopy diaper. Sister-in-law looks at me and says in the sweetest voice, Uncle Mike will say, "Can you change the diaper?" She frequently does this when we're there, but this was the first time I was asked. I answered politely, "No, I'm sorry, I don't do that." She responded, "You don't do diapers?" And then he responded and said, "No, I don't do other people's kids' diapers if their mom or dad is around. I mean, if I'm babysitting, sure thing. But yeah, if the parents are around, I just feel like it's their job." I'll stop reading there. I think we have enough. Who's the asshole here?
The sister-in-law.
I mean, 100% the sister-in-law. It's an excellent point. If I'm babysitting, I'll change the fucking baby's diapers. That's my job. But if you're standing right there and you're just, sipping a glass of rosé, change your fucking baby's diaper. What's wrong with you, woman?
Not only that, but standing right there at her mother's house, right? So like your mother's there, presumably your sister's there. So you're going to ask your sister's husband to change the baby's diaper? Like,
maybe there would be some other circumstances where they're there and maybe there's, the other kid is just like screaming, crying, or like jammed their finger in the door, or, they're really sick or something. Yeah, I get it, but that's not the implication here. And if you're asking other people to change your kid's diaper because you're a lazy piece of shit, then sorry, you're an asshole.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second here, just because it's fun. Somebody's got to do it.
Before you play devil's advocate, only use the facts in the story. So there's nothing else going on that we know of.
Okay. I'll try. This is one person's perspective of what the facts are. I can remember scenarios where I'm at my sister's house and she's got a brand new baby, and she's like, and he poops, She's like, want to change the diaper? Like more of a question.
Sure.
Okay.
And I could say yes or no. That's obviously not the scenario here. I'm doing a bad job.
Well, no. I think you make a good point though, because this is similar to the "Am I the asshole?" the other day, where it was, I forgot what they said. Like when it was the one where the woman didn't bring something to the dinner party, and it depends on how it was said, right? So like if this woman said, "Uncle Mike, want to change the diaper?" as opposed to "Uncle Mike, can you change the diaper?" Like, yeah. So I guess it does depend on
you, but no, it doesn't. I mean, you're leaving out all the other context of this lady being a total piece of shit
from her brother-in-law's perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, that's the only perspective we have. So I can't say. I mean, maybe this guy's a rotten liar, a dirty weasel, and the mom is, in a like handicapped and like can't use her arms. I guess that's possible. And now he's an asshole for not changing the diaper.
Yeah. No, she's the asshole. It's unanimous this week. Okay. That was easy.
Yeah. Congrats, guys. We did it. We solved the problem.
The problem has been solved.
Hopefully that guy listens to our show now. We're on his side.
What's his Reddit handle?
I don't know. You're the one looking at it right now, staring at it.
Late for an appointment.
Well, now he's the asshole. Late for an appointment is your name. Yeah. Sounds like you're a real jerk, dude.
Yeah, don't be late, man. Be on time.
Ugh.
What do they say?
If you're not early, you're late.
No, I'm confusing two different statements, so I'll just move on and not make a fool of myself.
Too late.
All right. Well, it's kind of what the show's about, right? Okay. Brad, this one I'm going to lean on you a little bit. You shared an email with us this week titled Measles Misinformation. And it was a report from Axios that showed a poll of Americans, and 48% of Americans are very confident that the MMR vaccines are safe.
Yes.
65% Democrats, 47% for independents, 37% Republicans. Based on those numbers, one of us is going to be very confident the MMR vaccine is safe, and I have a guess who that is. And they put this out. They put this out in Texas. Oh, you've got it up. In Texas, 646 measles cases since January 1. And so Brad shared this with us, finding it very interesting. What was your concern?
Well, I mean, my thought. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was about to go on a tirade. It's not a concern. I'm fine. Share who say they are very confident MMR vaccines are safe. How the hell does any of these people know? What does that mean? Very confident. How is anybody very confident that the vaccine is safe? What are they basing that off of? That their doctor said it? I mean, how many opioids the doctors give out saying they were safe? Like doctors give prescriptions all the time that are not safe and have side effects, and if they're abused and all sort, like what was the famous one everyone talks about, the drug that was pulled that was on the market forever? I can't remember, but whatever. What is very confident? How do people decide that? If someone called you, Charles, a pollster, and said, "Hey, how confident are you that the MMR vaccine is safe?" Very confident, somewhat confident, neutral, not confident at all. How would you base?
It's subjective.
Would you base your? How?
It's just subjective. It's just how you feel. It's the same way of like, how are you confident that the Tylenol that you pick up in the store hasn't been tainted and there's nothing in it and you're going to take it? Like it's based on subjectivity, how you feel.
I get all my Tylenol at the Dollar General, so I know it's tainted.
Wow.
Well, I think that
I don't know. But if someone asked me that question, a pollster called me the other day about Cornyn and Paxton.
Oh, wow.
And I tried to figure out which side they were on. I wasn't. It kind of threw me off a few times. But
Cornyn side.
Maybe it was Cornyn side. I don't know. But the guy, when they asked if I thought Cornyn was conservative, somewhat conservative, moderate, liberal, very liberal, I was like, I don't know, moderate. And he was like, I would have said liberal. I was like, okay, cool.
Wait, the pollster said that?
Yes.
I think.
But if someone called me and asked me, is any vaccine, how confident are you that this vaccine is safe? MMR, whatever, right? I don't know. I'd be like, how am I supposed to answer that? I mean, are you going to provide me with some information that I can review? and I can say whether it's safe or not, or am I just relying on what I read on the internet and like what my friend said or my doctor said? Like, who am I? Why are you asking me that? This is something that you should be asking people that have really like studied it or something like that. Like, why am I just a random person in the public being asked how confident I am that this drug is safe or not?
But everything you just said about that, how is that any different than the Cornyn Paxton poll?
Well, because it's a little, I think it's a little bit requires a little bit less expertise, I would say.
Well, it's also they're asking you a factual question. Is it safe? That's a fact.
Yeah.
Whereas with Cornyn, they're asking you your perspective of him.
Yeah, my opinion. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Well, no. I mean, they're asking if you feel that the vaccine is safe.
Okay, fair.
Share who say they are very confident MMR vaccines are safe.
Yeah, if you feel
I don't know. Confidence is not a feeling, though.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Matt, I think you're not really a good test case for this because you're not 47% of the public who believes Iraq had WMDs.
That's true.
Steel towers fall because planes hit them.
But
that Russia blew up its own pipeline. That Trump is a Russian asset. Like, think about the number of lies or potential lies that people believe all the time. If the insinuation is that we can't know whether the MMR vaccine is safe or it's not, people believe stuff all the time.
I know. And I think that we could know, and I think that that's possible. And I mean, I just want to, like, it's got to be, I want to know who's paying for this. The Kaiser Family Foundation polling, who's paying for this? Why is it an Axios? Like, why are they pushing this? What's the narrative they're trying to push? And it's like, oh, look, Democrats believe in science, Republicans don't. And America's really in the middle here. 48% of Americans think that it's very confident. They think that they're very confident that the MMR vaccine is safe. This is information they're going to be using to say, we got to do more to get people on board with the MMR.
I think that's positive news.
But yeah, I mean,
it's positive news.
2% of people on the flip side aren't very confident that they're safe.
I know. I think more people should question the safety of these things and, look into it deeper. You want to take it? Awesome. Go for it. Get your kids vaccinated. You don't want to? Awesome. Don't do it. I don't care. It's not my business. And you shouldn't be forced to either way. I just feel when I read this and I see that they're doing polling, asking random people if they're confident that a vaccine is safe or not, like they're going to use that information for something, probably to make, to push vaccines even more and, take away the right for exemptions. And that's going to fucking suck for people.
Okay, well, let's see. Kaiser Family Foundation publishes polling and journalism on healthcare issues. It works, especially on concerns for people who are low income or otherwise especially vulnerable to healthcare costs, such as uninsured. So, of course, they're pushing the vaccine. So, yeah, they want to determine what percentage of people believe that and then figure out how to message to those people. The
alternative way to read that is that they're wanting a cudgel to push for more censorship. That's what I read.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Why are they doing this? And what's interesting is they talk about how there have been 2 confirmed deaths of Texas and measles, 2 measles cases reported in Austin, the latest one on Friday. And if I can pull up the story, I will, but I'm not going to spend much time doing that right now. If I can pull it up while one of you are talking, I will. But the guy was vaccinated for MMR.
It says it right there in the if you go to the bottom of the story, it says it for you right there. And I quote, reality check. 2 doses of MMR vaccine are 97% effective against measles.
Says the CDC.
That's not 100%.
But now they're saying it's not. But people are gonna hear you say that, and they're gonna say that that's 97%.
3% of millions of people is a lot.
I know, but they also say now go get your booster. Go talk to your doctor to see if you got to get a booster. And which goes back to my question from weeks ago. How do any of us know if we're up to date on our vaccines?
You're not.
Exactly. You're not. How do any of us know that the vaccines lasted for us specifically? How do I know? Like I didn't go through today's schedule. Am I fully vaccinated? I have no idea.
Yeah. If you haven't gotten a tetanus shot in the last 10 years, then you're not fully vaccinated.
Oh,
like
Fuck.
If you haven't got that one, then you're not fully vaccinated. I mean, I was at the doctor the other day. She was like, "Do you want your tetanus shot? You needed to get it yours." I was like, "No." I'm like, "No." But no,
Charles,
you're not up
the
to date on it. If you
anti-vaxxer.
don't have your COVID booster, you're not up to date on your vaccines either. So
No, I don't go outside. I don't have a yard. I live in an apartment, ma'am. Leave me alone.
Charles or Brad, you should go to the doctor and get up to date on all your vaccines, which would be like 10 shots of the COVID vaccine and everything else that you need to get. See if you make it out alive.
I mean,
Just as a test to see if this is very safe.
Hey, Brad, go kill yourself.
you didn't get a flu vaccine this year. You're not up to date on your vaccine. Like, no.
That's what I mean. So anyhow, it's all, like leave people alone. You know what I mean?
I love to see that the 35% crunchy moms in the Democratic Party are still holding strong. Go crunchy moms.
That's you, bud.
I'm not a crunchy mom and I'm not a Democrat.
You're crunchy dad.
You're
Since we're in guest hosting mode, or not guest hosting, but taking up topics that the other panelists, or what do we call ourselves? Hosts of the show would like. Charles would like to talk about Mark Zuckerberg. So if you can pull up that video, the Zuck with his curly hair and his chain that he now wears because he thinks he's cool. I have no idea what this is about. Apparently he made some statement about, tell me if I get this wrong. Men have an average of 3 friends, but have the capacity to have 15 friends. And Mark Zuckerberg thinks that AI is going to fill that void for men.
Correct. And
fill the void of friendship.
I'm sorry?
Fill the void of friendship. Is that what I heard?
Correct. And actually, I'm having some trouble pulling it up. So I'm just going to text it to you guys. And if someone else can pull it up, because it won't let me share my screen for some reason. But yes. So, and it's not just men. He was talking generally speaking about people, that people Americans on average have 3 friends with the capacity of 15.
I got it, Michael.
Started at 20 seconds.
Started at 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, let me share screen. Ugh, what has happened to this guy? What is he wearing? Why does he look like that all of a sudden? All right, 20 seconds. Zoom forward. We're at 18 seconds is the best you're going to get.
There's the stat that I always think is crazy. The average American, I think it's fewer than 3 friends. 3 people that they'd consider friends. And the average
no friends.
Demand for meaningfully more. I think it's like 15 friends or something, right? I guess there's probably some point where you're like, all right, I'm just too busy. I can't deal with more people. But the average person wants more connectivity, connection than they have. So, there's a lot of questions that people ask of stuff like, okay, is this going to replace kind of in-person connections or real life connections? And my default is that the answer to that is probably no. I think I think that there are all these things that are better about kind of physical connections when you can have them, but the reality is that people just don't have the connection and they feel more alone a lot of the time than they would like. So I think that a lot of these things that today there might be a little bit of a stigma around, I would guess that over time we will find the vocabulary as a society to be able to articulate why that is valuable and why the people who are doing these things are like, why they are rational for doing it and how it is adding value for their lives. But also I think that the field is very early.
So, you can cut it.
Hold on a second. This guy is, hold on. Whoa. People need connection. People need friends. So let me give you a computer with not a real person so that you can find connection. And the society will find vocabulary one day to describe why this has value. Look, bitch, not all value is the same. +1 is not the same as +10, right? If I have a friend that I'm hanging out with in person and they're flesh and they're talking and I can see their, they emote and they use their hands, they communicate and, whatever. If it's Michael, he smells bad, maybe, I don't know. And you can't just say that that's an equal value. He's a monster.
Well, listen, I'll give him credit for saying that it is not a replacement for in-person connection as much as it's a supplement. I'll give him credit for that. But even then, I don't think it's really a supplement. My issue is, after this, I was doing Okay, anyway, back up. So 2 months from today, my book is due on men's friendships. And so this topic was really interesting because I'm actually currently working on the chapter about online friendships and that kind of stuff. And
That's us, bud.
yeah, because we've never met. If people don't know that, we've never actually met in person.
We've met.
Well, I met
a bunch of
Michael. Yeah,
times.
yeah. No, yeah. No, I've seen
Charles and I have not met.
Right.
I know.
And so I went and looked it up, and there's some cool, interesting things. I'm gonna check them out. There's one called Replica, which is an AI friend bot. Another one called Anima, and but the problem, huh?
What is it called?
Anima.
That's an AI bot,
It's
Anima?
an AI friend, yeah.
and it goes in your butthole.
And so what I find interesting is that he created this space for us to not have deep, meaningful in-person connections. Like, I mean, he was one of the driving forces behind it, and now he's trying to fix it with fake connections, which are not as meaningful. I mean, like, you just can't replicate human connection like that with a bot. Like, no matter how smart it is or anything like that, there's still something missing. And for some people, it might work. For people who are socially anxious or don't leave their home, but for most people, unless you're going to use this as a tool to help people build social skills to then go make friends, great. Like as a simulator, fine. But I just don't see it replicating it.
I don't have anything meaningful to add. I think Charles covered it very well. I would just say either Mark Zuckerberg, that is him at his psychiatrist's desk, or he's a lizard person.
No.
Both are plausible scenarios for me. Sounds like he didn't have any friends and he's pretty bummed out about it. Or he's got human skin on.
He does.
I don't know.
He might be an alien. He's got that anima deep.
Yeah. No, you can't replace it. We've seen the deteriorating effects of more technology in kids' hands and replacing social connection and friendships. And I think the science. I think the jury is out on that one. And I don't think supplementing friends with fake online AI friends is going to do anything but make that worse.
Now, I mean, just to throw a wrench in things, just for fun. What I will say, I mean, part of the problem, robots have no aura. Am I right, bruz?
Yeah.
There's no Riz. You know what I mean? I could see having do I call it a relationship? I don't know. A relationship with an AI or a robot at some point, but not a friendship. No, Michael, not that kind of relationship, though. Who knows? I'm not going to say no yet, all right, to that. But what I am saying is like Grok or ChatGPT. You know, you ask it questions, you sort of like pitch back and forth, and sure, there's a lot of problems with them, but as it hopefully gets better and it gets less politicized or whatever, I could see having a relationship there with some sort of AI and having a meaningful relationship where I'm bouncing ideas off of that and having conversations with it, but it's never going to replace friends and family ever. Right?
You're talking the interstellar dynamic with, I forget the robot's name in that, but that's what you're kind of envisioning, right?
Yeah. Something like that.
Where they like joke with each other and he asks them like factual things. But I will say in the end of Interstellar, which is a great movie, he throws him into the black hole. So it wasn't that meaningful of a connection.
Who the robot throws the guy or the guy throws the robot?
No, McConaughey throws the robot. Gosh, what was his freaking name? I can't remember his name.
The robot's name
into
the Interstellar? I don't remember there being a robot in Interstellar.
Have we been conditioned for this for a long time? Because when you think about things like R2-D2 and like all these different robots that have come and gone that people have built close relationships with and were sad about them dying and stuff. Like I remember in R2-D2, they were crying when that robot, I forgot what exactly happened to him. He was chasing somebody, got electrocuted or water or something. They were bawling their eyes out.
Who was?
Not R2-D2. I'm sorry. Johnny.
Oh,
Johnny 5. That's
Five. Yes. Fucking, what's the name of that movie? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Is it not Johnny 5?
I don't think so. Maybe it is.
Tars is the name of the robot in Interstellar. But
Short Circuit.
Oh yeah, Short Circuit.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
Damn. Reminds me of the little touch.
Have we been conditioned? Predictive programming, yes.
I mean, There's also Her, and there's Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. And there was a recent movie that came out this year. I can't remember, but it's like sex robots, but they're like indistinguishable from people. And, I mean, what?
What's the one with the good-looking robot?
The one with the good-looking robot.
Yeah, the girl. Oh, gosh.
Hell yeah. Why? I didn't know you were into robots, brother. Hell yeah. And you were talking about me getting romantically involved.
You guys want to go to another topic? We're running out of time.
No. I just need to find this movie. I'm never going to find it.
Hot robot in movie.
You know what I'm talking about as soon as you
literally don't know. The 10 Cosmopolitan. These are the 10 most fuckable robots of all time. Sharing screen.
There it is. Ex Machina. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. Here are the 10 most fuckable robots. Arissa from Better Than Us.
There it is.
Ava from Ex Machina. Okay, she's number 2. So you got to get on number 1. Arissa from Better Than Us.
I've never seen that.
I don't either.
All right, we're at 4:00, gentlemen. So we should end the show. It's been another great one.
Is number 7 of most fuckable robots? Cosmopolitan, what are you doing? C-3PO? Rosie.
That one I see.
Bumblebee. This is a joke, Cosmo. Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Oh my God. No worries. All right. Another great show. Thank you for tuning in to the BCM podcast. Like, share, subscribe, share with friends, send it an email, send it in snail mail. And we'll see you next week. See you, gentlemen.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.